Picture this. You own a winery in Rioja, Spain. Rolling hills, centuries-old vines, and endless rows of Tempranillo grapes soaking up the Iberian sun. You imagine spending your days tasting vintage reserves with elite collectors and watching your family name become a global luxury brand. It's the ultimate romantic, agricultural dream. But if you're running a Rioja wine cooperative, you need to wake up. Vast. Because you aren't running a boutique luxury estate. You are managing a high-volume, hyper-political agricultural safety net for hundreds of local farmers. This isn't the business of crafting fine, artisanal wine. It's actually the business of managing agricultural social security and high-volume commodity liquidity. Before you can understand the money, you have to understand who you're actually selling to. A Rioja cooperative pools the grapes of anywhere from 50 to 500 small landholders. To survive, these co-ops usually split their operations into 4 distinct revenue models. First, the bulk liquidator. This is the cash flow engine. You sell unaged, high-volume juice to massive commercial bottlers or private labels. The margins are razor-thin, but the volume is guaranteed, keeping your farmers paid immediately. Second, the mass-market crianza. These are the entry-level, barrel-aged wines you see on the bottom shelf of a European or American supermarket. It's a volume game built on supermarket contracts, competing directly against cheap, mass-produced wines from the New World. Third, the premium selection. Here, the co-op selects the absolute best grapes from its members to age for 3 to 5 years. This is your high-margin, brand-building product, but it requires tying up millions of dollars in inventory. And fourth, the tourism and direct-to-consumer hybrid. By cutting out the distributor, they capture retail margins, though it requires heavy marketing budgets. So, what does it actually cost to play this game? If you think it's just buying some land and a few tractors, you're missing the invisible barriers. First, there's the Rioja quota. You can't just plant grapes anywhere and call it Rioja. Planting rights are strictly regulated. If you want to expand, you have to buy the rights from someone else. A massive upfront premium before a single vine goes into the ground. Then, there's the oak barrel mandate. To legally label your wine as a crianza or reserva, it must be aged in 225-liter oak barrels for legally mandated periods. A single French oak barrel can cost well over $1,000. When you are aging millions of liters of wine for years, you are essentially burying millions of dollars in a cold, dark cellar, hoping consumer tastes don't change by the time you finally bottle it. Finally, you have wastewater treatment and stainless steel. Industrial-scale fermentation requires massive, temperature-controlled tanks and state-of-the-art water management systems to comply with strict European Union regulations. These are multi-million-dollar infrastructure plays, not romantic cellar projects. Shifting production toward high-end wines drastically increases long-term profitability on paper, but it suffocates short-term liquidity, a trade-off most small farmers simply cannot afford. Which brings us to the most frustrating truth of this industry. To protect the income of individual small farmers, the cooperative must often flood the market with cheap bulk wine, which inadvertently depresses the brand value and long-term profit of the very region they are trying to save. Think about it. A small farmer has a mortgage to pay today. They can't wait 5 years for a Gran Reserva to hit the market. So, the cooperative takes their grapes, turns them into bulk wine, and sells it fast at rock-bottom prices just to generate cash. But by flooding the market with cheap Rioja, they train global consumers to view the entire region as a bargain bin, making it infinitely harder to sell their premium bottles later. It is a vicious, inescapable cycle. Let's look at how this plays out in the real world. Historically, across the Rioja region, cooperative alliances were formed purely out of survival. During periods of global economic downturns, mega-distributors would squeeze individual growers, offering pennies for their harvest. By banding together, these cooperatives built massive facilities, capable of processing millions of kilos of grapes. They gained the leverage to negotiate with supermarket chains. According to industry reports, cooperatives still control a massive percentage of the total land in Rioja. They act as the ultimate shock absorber. When the market is saturated, the co-op takes the hit, absorbing the excess grapes and turning them into industrial alcohol if necessary, just to ensure the farmer doesn't go bankrupt. But this size makes them slow. While private, boutique estates pivot quickly to organic farming or trendy single vineyard labels. The massive cooperatives are often weighed down by the sheer democratic bureaucracy of pleasing hundreds of member owners. In this business, volatility is the only constant. In a highly favorable year, the weather in the Ebro Valley is perfect. Balanced spring rain, zero late-season frost, and a hot, dry harvest. Grape yields hit the legal maxima. Simultaneously, let's say global tariffs are relaxed and demand from the US and UK surges. The cooperative sells its bulk wine quickly, freeing up cash to pay the farmers a premium per kilo, while safely tucking away the best vintages into oak barrels. Everyone gets a bonus, and the co-op invests in shiny new bottling lines. But in a bad year, it's a financial nightmare. A late April frost could wipe out 30% of the buds. What survives is subjected to an extreme summer heat wave, causing the grapes to shrivel and lose acidity. Yields plummet. Meanwhile, macro trends shift like younger demographics, drinking less red wine, and global supply chains back up. The cooperative is stuck, holding millions of liters of unsold wine from the previous vintage, meaning they have no physical tank space or cash for the new, smaller harvest. Desperate to empty the tanks, they sell the wine at a massive loss. The farmers receive a fraction of their usual payout, and the cooperative takes on heavy bank debt just to keep the lights on. You can bottle all the prestige you want, but ultimately, you are just a bank for the harvest, trading the long-term legacy of the region for the short-term survival of the farmer.